So, you want to own a casino? Not just visit one for a weekend or spend a few hours at the blackjack table. You want to own the entire place. The bright lights, the endless rows of slot machines, the poker tables packed with players, and the constant sound of chips moving across green felt. From the outside, it looks like one of the greatest businesses ever invented. Every hour, hundreds of people walk through the doors carrying money, all hoping to leave with more than they arrived with. Meanwhile, you're the owner. You don't need to gamble. You simply unlock the doors every morning and watch the money flow into your business. It almost feels like you've discovered a machine that never stops printing cash. And honestly, it sounds perfectly logical. People voluntarily walk into your building every single day, knowing the odds are already against them. They exchange real money for colorful chips, sit down at the tables, pull the slot machine lever over and over again, and keep coming back even after losing. From a distance, the business looks incredibly simple. The players take all the risk, while the house quietly collects a small advantage on every game being played. You imagine hiring a few employees, keeping the lights on, and watching the profits arrive month after month. It's exactly the kin, but that picture leaves out the single most important part of the story. Because successful casinos aren't built around gambling. Gambling is simply the reason people walk through the front door. The real business begins only after they step inside. Every hallway, every flashing light, every free drink, every hotel room, every restaurant, and every game has been carefully designed to accomplish one objective that most visitors never even notice. Casinos are not just places where people gamble, they're environments engineered to make people stay just a little bit longer. And once you understand that, you'll never look at a casino the same way again. The cards are only the attraction. Time is the product. Most people believe casinos make their money because the odds are slightly in their favor. And while that's true, it's only a small part of the story. Imagine two customers. One walks into the casino, plays a single hand of blackjack, and leaves 5 minutes later. The other spends 6 hours wandering between slot machines, restaurants, bars, and gaming tables before finally heading back to their hotel room. Both customers gambled. But to the casino, one of them was dramatically more valuable than the other. That's because casinos don't just measure how much money you spend, they measure how long you stay. Every extra minute inside the building creates another opportunity for you to spend money somewhere. Once you see it, you realize almost nothing inside a casino exists by accident. The slot machines aren't simply placed wherever there's empty space. The restaurants aren't located where they're most convenient. Even the bars, hotel elevators, and gift shops are positioned with remarkable precision. Every decision is carefully planned to guide people through the building, encourage them to explore just one more area, play one more game, or stay for one more hour. The longer guests remain inside, the more likely they are to gamble again, order another drink, book another night, or spend money somewhere they hadn't planned to. Time quietly turns into revenue. That's why the world's biggest casinos don't think of themselves as giant gambling halls. They're closer to entertainment ecosystems. The games bring people through the front door, but once they're inside, every part of the building begins working together. The hotel encourages longer visits. The restaurants keep guests from leaving for dinner. The live shows attract entirely different audiences. Luxury shops, spas, nightclubs, and convention centers all create new reasons to stay just a little longer. By the time a guest finally leaves, they may have spent money in half a dozen different places. Gambling started the visit, but it was never the only business taking place. Walk into almost any major casino in the world and something feels different. At first, you probably won't notice it. The music is calm but energetic, the lighting is warm and consistent, the temperature always feels comfortable, everything seems inviting, almost effortless. But after an hour or two, something strange happens. You stop paying attention to how long you've been there. Minutes blur into hours, and without realizing it, you've completely lost track of time. That feeling isn't an accident. It's one of the first things casinos are designed to create. That's why you'll notice something missing in many casino gaming areas. There are very few clocks, very few windows, sometimes none at all. Without sunlight or obvious reminders of the outside world, your brain loses one of its most reliable ways of measuring time. Morning, afternoon, and evening all begin to feel remarkably similar. The environment becomes its own little world, separated from everything happening beyond the front doors. The longer people forget about the outside world, the easier it becomes to stay for just one more game. But the design goes much deeper than removing clocks. Casinos carefully arrange their gaming floors so that movement feels natural, even when it isn't. As guests wander from one area to another, they constantly pass new slot machines, gaming tables, restaurants, bars, and lounges. Every turn presents another opportunity to stop, sit down, and spend a little more time inside the building. The goal isn't to force anyone to gamble. It's to make leaving feel less convenient than staying. And that tiny psychological difference can be worth millions of dollars every single year. If you've never looked at a casino's financial statements, you probably imagine that almost every dollar comes from gambling. Slot machines, blackjack tables, roulette wheels, poker rooms, that's what people see, so that's what they assume pays the bills. But modern casinos are much more complicated than that. In fact, many of the world's largest casino resorts operate like entire miniature cities under one roof. Gambling may attract the customer, but once they're inside, the casino has dozens of different ways to make money. Every meal, every hotel booking, every concert ticket, every drink ordered at the bar adds another stream of revenue flowing into the business. The casino isn't relying on one customer making one big bet. It's creating hundreds of smaller opportunities to spend money throughout the entire visit. Take the hotel, for example. At first glance, it might seem like a completely separate business. But for the casino, every occupied room is another customer who doesn't have to drive home at the end of the night. Instead, they wake up just an elevator ride away from the gaming floor. They eat breakfast inside the resort, spend the afternoon by the pool, grab dinner at one of the restaurants, maybe watch a live show, and eventually find themselves back at the casino. One hotel reservation can generate revenue over an entire weekend, not just from the room itself, but from everything the guest does while staying there. The room isn't simply accommodation. It's another way of extending time. And that's exactly why the biggest casinos invest billions of dollars in things that have nothing to do with gambling. Luxury restaurants, world-famous concerts, professional sporting events, shopping malls, nightclubs, fine dining, even convention centers that attract thousands of business travelers every year. Many visitors arrive for reasons completely unrelated to gambling, but once they're inside the resort, they're surrounded by dozens of opportunities to spend money without ever leaving the property. The games may still be the biggest attraction, but the real business has become something much larger, creating an entire destination where every hour opens the door to another purchase. Here's one of the biggest misconceptions about casinos. Most people think the casino wins because almost everyone loses. But that's not actually how the business works. Casinos expect people to win all the time. In fact, they need winners. Nothing attracts a crowd faster than seeing someone celebrate a huge jackpot or walk away from a blackjack table with a stack of chips. Those stories spread, they create excitement, they make everyone else think, maybe I'll be next. The casino isn't trying to stop people from winning. It's simply built so that over thousands and thousands of games, the odds slowly tilt in its favor. Think of it like flipping a slightly unfair coin. Imagine that every time someone plays a game, the casino has only a tiny advantage. Sometimes the player wins, sometimes the casino wins. In the short run, the results can look completely random. But casinos don't think in minutes. They think in millions of games. Every spin of a roulette wheel, every hand of blackjack, every pull of a slot machine adds another tiny statistical advantage. Alone, each game means very little. Together, they create a business that's remarkably predictable. The casino isn't betting on today's customer. It's betting on tomorrow and the next million after that. That's why casinos love repeat customers. A single visit might end with someone winning hundreds or even thousands of dollars, but if that same person returns week after week, month after month, the math begins to take over. The casino doesn't need to know what happens tonight. It already knows what usually happens over the course of an entire year. That's the real power of the house edge. It's patient. It doesn't chase quick wins or panic after a big payout. It simply waits while millions of small probabilities slowly turn into predictable profits. For the casino, consistency is worth far more than any single lucky night. If casinos were simply places where people lost money, they wouldn't exist for very long. The truth is, people don't keep coming back because they expect to lose. They come back because they remember winning. Even if that win happened months ago or only lasted a few seconds, the memory sticks. It creates a feeling that's surprisingly difficult to forget. That's the magic every casino is built around, not the jackpot itself. The possibility of the jackpot. As long as players believe the next spin, the next card, or the next roll of the dice could change everything, there's always a reason to keep going. Casinos also understand something psychologists have known for decades. Predictable rewards become boring. Unpredictable rewards become addictive. Imagine pulling the lever on a slot machine. Most of the time, nothing exciting happens. Sometimes you win a little, once in a while you win a lot. Because you never know which spin might pay out, every new attempt feels full of possibility. That uncertainty keeps people engaged. It's the same reason people refresh social media, open mystery boxes in video games, or keep checking their phones for new notifications. Our brains are naturally drawn to uncertainty, and casinos have spent decades learning exactly how to harness it. But perhaps the most powerful trick isn't found in the games at all. It's found inside the player. After spending an hour or maybe several hours, people often start thinking differently. They've already invested time, they've already spent money. Walking away can feel like giving up on the chance to recover everything they've lost. So instead of leaving, many decide to play just a little longer. One more hand, one more spin, one more round. And that's exactly where the casino wants them. Not because it forces anyone to stay, but because it understands that sometimes the hardest person to walk away from is yourself. By now, casinos almost sound like perfect businesses. The odds favor the house, customers keep coming back, revenue comes from hotels, restaurants, concerts, and shopping, not just gambling. It seems like success should be almost guaranteed. But if that were true, every casino would be making billions. The reality is very different. Over the years, countless casinos have struggled financially, been sold to new owners, or even closed their doors entirely. Some were beautifully designed, others sat in prime locations. Many attracted thousands of visitors every day, yet they still failed. Because running a casino isn't just about getting people through the front door. It's about convincing enough people to keep coming back, year after year. The biggest challenge is that casinos are incredibly expensive to operate. Those massive buildings don't take care of themselves. Hotels need housekeepers, restaurants need chefs. Thousands of employees keep the gaming floor running around the clock. The lights stay on 24 hours a day. Air conditioning cools millions of square feet. Security teams monitor every corner of the property. Every day the doors are open, the bills keep arriving, whether the casino is full of guests or nearly empty. That means casinos need a constant stream of visitors just to cover their enormous operating costs. When fewer people show up, profits can disappear surprisingly fast. And then there's competition. Today's casinos aren't just competing with the building across town. They're competing with luxury resorts in Las Vegas, online casinos, cruise ships, sports betting apps, and even people's own living rooms. Customers have more entertainment choices than ever before, And every new option makes it a little harder to earn their time and attention. That's why casinos constantly renovate their hotels, open new restaurants, bring in famous performers, and build bigger attractions. They're not simply maintaining a casino, they're fighting to stay relevant in an industry where standing still can quickly become falling behind. At the beginning of this video, owning a casino probably sounded like the ultimate business. A building where people voluntarily hand you their money while the odds quietly work in your favor. But after looking behind the curtains, the picture is much more interesting than that. Casinos aren't successful because every customer loses. They're successful because they've built an entire ecosystem around one incredibly valuable resource: human attention. Every flashing light, every hotel room, every restaurant, every concert, every free drink, every carefully designed hallway serves the same purpose. Not to make people gamble, but to make them stay. And once you realize that, you start noticing it everywhere. Airports want you to spend more time inside the terminal. Shopping malls are carefully designed to keep you browsing. Theme parks guide you from one attraction to the next. Even your favorite apps compete for every extra minute of your attention. The casino just happens to be one of the clearest examples because it doesn't simply monetize games. It monetizes time itself. The longer people stay, the more opportunities there are for money to change hands. And that's a business model far more powerful than gambling alone. So, if someone asks whether owning a casino is a good business, the answer isn't as simple as yes or no. You're not buying a building full of card tables. You're not buying a collection of slot machines. You're buying an incredibly complex business that blends psychology, hospitality, entertainment, statistics, architecture, and economics into a single experience. The cards, the dice, and the roulette wheel may be the symbols everyone remembers, but they were never the real product. Because in the end, the most valuable thing inside a casino isn't money, it's the hours people choose to spend there. And that's the business you were really buying all along.